Henry Browns Brown, Carter Wilson, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. African American individuals who have greatly impacted their society and our society today as well. But throughout my whole education system and career, I've only learned about one and heard about one of these men. Which begs the question, is the education system doing a good enough job at incorporating Black history into our curriculums? I personally do not believe so. So today I'll be discussing the importance of incorporating this Black teachings into our curriculums and how and why we should change this. Because Black history is American history. So every year, the month of February, we celebrate Black History Month. So let me give you a little insight on how that came to be. In 1929, Carter Wilson provided and established the Negro History Week, which was initially supposed to highlight, celebrate, and learn about Black history. Motivated by this, in 1969, students decided to urge the nation into turning this week into a whole month, which was finally instituted in 1976. With that being said, in 1969, there was a strike that demanded for the establishment of Division of Ethnic Studies, which will allow 1 or 2 courses into Black literature. And the nation woke up and decided to hire Jimmy Garrett and Nathan Harrod to collaborate and put together the first African American studies program in the nation. This study and program was supposed to teach schools and students the thorough knowledge of Black history. And unfortunately, I believe that the school system has failed Jimmy Garrett, Carter Wilson, and Nathan Hare. So not only is it important, but it's necessary for young Black children to have a positive representation of Black history. The representation of Blacks within our school system is simply reduced and portrayed to Blacks as slaves, and slavery was not the only part of our history. So redefining this Black history would be character development for all races. For instance, Femi Lewis, a teacher in New York, recalls an instance that one of the students asked him, after reading a Black literature, why is it that we're reading this and not Shakespeare, because it's not February? So shocked by this question, like I would be too, Femi responded with, why is it that we have to wait 1 whole month in order to learn about our culture and our knowledge as well? And according to corporate children's book, Center find that there are about 3,700 children's books, but there are only 340 African American books that include children. In 1969, an article written by Nancy Leary, she describes and discusses the effects of course that scarcity has on children's book, because that lacks knowledge on people of color. She says that this causes racial bias, and it causes the effect that white people feel superior. And the personal experience of mine was that during my school years, every time I went to elementary school, middle school, high school, this is my first year actually having a better understanding of my Black history, because I chose to learn more about my Black history. But during my high school years and my elementary school years and my middle school year, the teachings that were represented in our books about Black history was that it was slavery and South lynching and oppression, but that's not the only history that we were part of. The textbooks only geared to people and individuals that look nothing like me, of their achievements. And when African American study was discussed in the classroom, it literally disappeared right after Black History Month. Funny, right? So I believe that the content of the textbooks and the lessons have a primarily to blame, because they lack the basis of Black history and the teachings that represent it. So when I hear my African American friends that go to HBCUs, that go to PV, they have such a broad understanding and a comprehensive understanding of this topic, which makes me wonder if I have to go to a Black history, historical Black college in order to get the same information and knowledge, which is totally unfair and wrong. But there are different ways that we can change this narrative. So one thing that we can do is that we can not just infuse our Black history into history curriculums, but we can infuse them into humanities and STEM curriculums as well. And one way to do that is not just by teaching them the life of Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, but to teach about other Black excellences like Daniel William, who was the first person to perform open heart surgery. That's huge. And Katherine Johnson, you know her in the Hidden Figures that Taraji P. Henson played. She was a person that calculated formulas for NASA. And according to education funding partners, there are ways that we can help change the narrative as well. Teaching tolerance provides guides and a curated list on do's and do not while we teach Black history. So now that we have a basic understanding of this, and now that we know that Black history doesn't need to be conformed in a history classroom, we can start by embracing that it doesn't also need to be conformed within 28 days of February. Black history is American history, and such history deserves to be highlighted, talked about, and celebrated throughout the whole year, and not just for one month of the school year. Thank you.